Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Lang and Lit. In today's video, I'll be giving you a simplified summary of the chapter from class 11th, and that is the address. Before taking up the main topic of today, I would like to tell you briefly about my channel. It is a channel dedicated to English studies. It covers wide range of topics from vocabulary building to class 11th and 12th CBSE syllabus of English, English in competitions, spoken English and excellent communication skills. You can have a look at all this from the playlist and the videos. So, subscribe the channel now by pressing the subscribe button given in red. Let's begin with our main content. I will give you a comprehensive view of the chapter starting from the author, detailed summary, themes and the characters. So keep watching this video till the end. The author, Marga Minko, her pseudonym is Sarah Menko, born on 31st March 1920. She is a Dutch journalist and a very famous writer. She was born in the Orthodox Jewish family. In 1957, Minko published her first book. The name of her book was Het Bittere Kruid, which means the bitter herb. The title of her later book was Egling Hu, An Empty House. Both of these works were very famous and popular among the readers. The story is about the human condition that follows the pre-war and post-war period. A touching account of a girl who goes in search of her mother's belonging after the Second World War in Holland. Now let's see the summary of the story. The story starts with our author going to someone's home. The protagonist is our author and she asked the woman standing at the door if she knew her. The lady had opened the door a little. The protagonist came closer to the door and stood there. The woman responded negatively and the protagonist still gave her introduction. She said she was Mrs. S's daughter. The woman had held the door tightly as she did not wanted her to enter the house. She kept staring at the protagonist though she could not recognize her. The protagonist thought maybe she had come to a wrong house. She had seen the woman only for a short time years ago. The woman who answered the door stepped aside and let go of the door. The protagonist recognized her mother's knitted cardigan and that woman was wearing. The wooden buttons had become pale because of the washing. The woman noticed the protagonist looking at the cardigan. She hid behind the door. Now the protagonist knew she had come to the right house. The protagonist asked the woman about her mother. The woman asked her if she had come back. She replied, "Only her and no one else has come with her." The woman opened the door and the passage was behind her. There was a stale smell that occurred all over. The woman told her that she could not do anything for her. The protagonist told that she had come from a faraway place by the train just to talk to her. The woman told her it is not convenient to talk right now and asked her to come back later. The woman closed the door as she did not want anyone to get disturbed in the house. The protagonist was still standing on the steps. She saw a curtain moving on the window bay. Someone was staring at her from inside the house. She thought it was nothing as the woman would have told her. The protagonist looked at the number plate again. It said number 46. Darling was written on the plate on white enamel. As she was going back to the station, she was thinking about her mother who gave her this address. It was the first half of the Holland War. She was home for a few days and suddenly it struck her that her room was different now. Various things were missing from her. Her mother was surprised that she noticed the changes as it was very little. It was the time when she was told about this woman, Mrs. Dorlings. She was an old contact of hers whom she had not seen for years. Suddenly she has come to visit her, and since then she had been a regular contact. Her mother told her that whenever that woman came to visit her, she took something from their house with her, table silvers, antique plates, and she had trouble over carrying the large vase. She told her that the cramp in her back came from the crockery. Her mother shook her head in sorrow. The woman kept telling the protagonist's mother that she wanted to save the precious things. If they had to leave split this place someday, they would lose everything. She asked her mother if she really wanted to take all the things with her. Her mother replied that even if she did not, it would be an insult to ask her not to. She was going out with a risk herself, a suitcase full of items. Her mother noticed that she wasn't convinced and looked at her critically. After that day, they never talked about the incident again. She reached the station. Now she has again come to the present and she is saying that she has reached the station without noticing any details on the way. She passed the familiar things after the war for the first time. She did not want to upset herself with the familiar sights of the houses, the streets that reminded her of all the precious past times. Back in time, saw Mrs. Dawlings in person a day after her mother told her daughter about her. She woke up late that morning, and as she was going downstairs, she saw the lady with the broad back. Her mother was seeing her out. Her mother introduced the protagonist to the lady. She signaled to her, and the women responded with a nod. She picked the suitcase under the coat rack. She was wearing a brown coat and a shapeless hat. The protagonist asked her mother if she lived far away. The mother told her the address. She lives at Marconi Street, number 46, and she told her to remember the address. She remembered the address, but she took long to visit the place. After the freedom, she was on one hand not interested, and on the other, she was afraid. She was afraid of getting confronted with the past memories and connections that no longer existed. This war has actually costed the life of her mother, and she didn't want it to have anything to do with her past because it again and again gave her the pangs of pain about her past. Connections were hidden in cupboards and boxes. It seemed that those memories were waiting in vain to put them back into their places as they had suffered all these years because they were only things. Things were getting normal in the protagonist's life, but one day she got curious about all the things that were still at this address. She wanted to see them and touch them. After the first hopeless visit, she decided to try one more time. When she reached Mrs. Dorling's home, a girl of about 15 years opened the door. Protagonist asked her about her mother. She told her that she was outside doing some errand, some work, to which the protagonist decided that she would wait for her. The protagonist followed the girl along the passage. There was a Hanukkah candle holder hung next to the mirror. She remembered that she never used it as it was unmanageable. The girl asked her to sit down as she opened the door of the living room. She opened and she was disturbed. She was standing in a room which she knew and she did not. She saw there standing in the middle of the things which she did not want to see, and they burdened her. They all were the belongings of her mother who was no more. Maybe because of the way things were arranged, on the humid smell in the room, or the ugly furniture, she was scared to look at everything. She sat down on the chair which the girl pulled out for her. She looked at the woolen tablecloth. She rubbed it and her fingers felt the warmth. As she followed the lines of the pattern, she remembered a burn mark that was never repaired. The girl told her that her mother would be back soon and asked if she would like to have a cup of tea. She answered, "Thank you." The protagonist looked up. She saw the girl put 2 cups of tea in front of her. She had a broad bag just like her mother. She poured the tea from the teapot and it had a gold border on the lid. She opened the box and took some spoons out of it. The protagonist complimented the girl about the box. She felt weird hearing her own voice. It was sounding different to her. As the girl turned to give her a cup, she asked if she knew about the box. Then she added that it is an antique according to her mother. She pointed around the room and said that there are more. She told her to see. Although the protagonist did not need to follow her direction, she knew what she was talking about. She glanced over the tea table. She remembered how she used to fancy the apple on the pewter plate. The girl shared that they used the plate for everything. Once they ate off the plates that were hanging on the wall. The girl wanted to eat off the plate too, but it wasn't anything special. The protagonist found the burn marks on the tablecloth. The girl looked at her in a question. Now, all these things which were there in this room belonged to the author's mother. While looking at these things, she was sharply pained because her mother used to take care of each and everything in a very particular manner. She used to keep them very properly, use them very decently, whereas these things at Mrs. Dorling's house are just clumsily kept. They are used for things which were not meant for them. So all these things were kept in a very clumsy way. They were smelling, they were not properly kept, they were not taken care of. So, all these things, looking at these things so indecently and improperly dealt, the author's heart pained all the more. Why? Because her mother used to take care of these things, and here they are treated as rubbish. Then the protagonist said yes and told her that when you are so used to touching things into your house, you hardly notice anything. You only notice when something is missing or it needs to be repaired because you have lent it. She again found her voice to be unnatural. She continued, she told the girl that once her mother asked her if she would help her polish the silver. It was a long time ago and she was bored that day. She had to stay that day, maybe as she was ill. She asked her mother what silver she is talking about. Her mother said that it was the spoons, knives, and forks. So, this is how Mrs. S., that is our author's mother, used to take care of her belongings. The spoons, the knives, the forks, cutlery, everything she used to keep in a very proper way, taking care of them. But she did not know that it was silver. The girl laughed and said that she bet she did not know it was silver, it was either. With that, they ate with. The protagonist asked if she knew. The girl hesitated and walked to the sideboard and opened the drawer. She said she would see if it was there. Then the protagonist jumped and said she forgot the time as she had to catch the train. The girl asked her if she did not want to wait for her mother. The protagonist replied with a no and said she must leave. The girl pulled the drawer open. The protagonist said she could find her way out and walk down the passage as she heard the ringing of spoons and forks. When she reached the corner of the road, she looked at the nameplate again. It said Marconi Street and she was standing at 46. The address was correct, but she does not want to remember it anymore. So, this was her final decision that she did not want to remember this address anymore. She did not want to go back as the things in which it reminded of her. These memories linked with the familiar life of old times, but they lose the value when you are separated from them and you see them again in the strange environment. She thought of what she would have done with the small rented room where back blackout paper hung over the window and no cutlery fitted the narrow drawer. She finally resolved of forgetting the address as it would be easiest to do. Now, these were the two reasons why this author thought that she should forget about the belongings of her mother. Why? It all reminded her of her mother's absence. The good memories they had with each other, the things were kept in a very proper way by her mother. So, all these things were in a very proper way kept by her mother. But here we see Mrs. Dorling is just misusing them. So it was a hurting thing for her. So she wanted to forget about it. The second, and a very practical thing which she thought was that she was living in a small rented house and which does not have enough drawers to have those cutleries and all. So it is better that she forgets about all these things. So she finally gives up the idea of remembering anything about the address, that is number 46 Marconi Street. In this chapter, The Address by Marga Minko throws light on multitude of emotions which belong to every human. On her visit to this address, Mrs. Dorling's house, the author was given a cold shoulder by Mrs. Dorling. This act of Mrs. Dorling is enough to tell us about author's mother was betrayed by Mrs. Dorling. The author, on the other hand, was being overpowered by emotional turmoil and sadness after Mrs. Dorling had not recognized her. After being treated unpleasantly by Mrs. Dorling on her first visit to the house, the author developed an awful impression of Mrs. Dorling. To her, she was a thief who had refused to recognize her as she did not want to return the possession of her mother. On her second visit, the author was welcomed by Mrs. Dorling's daughter, who, unlike her mother, asked the author to come inside and she even offered her a cup of tea. The author, while running her eyes around the house, saw a few things that her mother had left with Mrs. Dorling. She also observed that Mrs. Dorling's daughter loves those possessions quite dearly and is proud of possessing them. In the end, the author decides that against everything, taking possession along, as she felt that all these possessions would remind her of her family members who had died in the course of war, so she thought that she must give it up. Leaving everything behind, the story clearly brings out to light the fact that holding on to the past can be extremely painful. It goes without saying that forgetting the moments and the experiences that torment you can really be daunting task. But once you accept your past wholeheartedly, you tend to get big weight off your back. So this story talks of how the people suffer before and after the war. There are always consequences of the war which are felt by people emotionally, socially, and even to a certain extent mentally. All this is highlighted in this chapter. Character of Mrs. Dorling. Mrs. Dorling was an old acquaintance of Mrs. S., that is the narrator's mother. The narrator, a young woman, went to Mrs. Dorling's house in Holland to fetch her belongings back from Mrs. Dorling's house. She lived in Holland. That was during in 1940s. Mrs. Dorling showed her bad character. She was a thief. She used the belongings like clothes, utensils, etc. of the author and author's mother. In spite of promising to take good care of them, it was all untruthful and dishonest and cheating what she did to them. Also, she did not take care of those belongings in a proper way. So she was careless and rude too. She was bad in that she did not invite the narrator into her house and treat her like a good guest.